or something to that effect. But you want to be careful once you do it. So that's why I use the paper towels. I'm just going to throw them away anyway, just to get the excess out. Okay, now we're ready to put the strings on. Strings usually come coiled like this. Just cautiously uncoil them. I kind of hold them down so that when they uncoil, they won't hit me in the eyeball. Let's see if I have any. Now, when you're putting the string in the guitar, a lot of people feel that that ball of that string should be sitting like that on the pin. Well, that's not quite true. That ball is actually going to go down inside that hole, and it wants to go off to the side so that it's like that inside the guitar. And the top of the guitar will be sitting where the ball is being pulled up against the inside of the top of the instrument. So I tend to put it in again, stick your arms inside there, put the pin in, make sure the pin is seated, and then make sure that that ball is up against the top and not at the bottom. Otherwise, at the bottom of the pin, I'm sorry. Otherwise, what can happen is you'll be tightening up your string. And if that ball is at the bottom of the pin, as you tighten it up, it's going to pull that pin right up out of the guitar. So you want to make sure it's off to the side. Do you play guitar? Got an accordion player here filming us. Okay. I'm just making sure that ball is up where it should be. And you can kind of feel it with your fingers. If you don't do it right and you start tuning it, what you'll notice is as you're pulling the thing up into tune, the pin will start to pull right up out of the guitar, and then you know you didn't get the ball off to the side. So just to avoid that, again, I just stick my arm down inside there and feel it as I'm doing it. Okay, it all feels pretty good on the inside. So you got all those strings on there. It's always a good idea while the strings are off, find yourself a clean section of the rag here. And clean up the guitar top underneath where the strings sit. It's a lot easier to do it when there's no strings than when there's strings on it. So the strings are all loose. You come up here to the top. Now this is kind of where a lot of people feel uncomfortable doing the strings. You want to pull your string up so that it's running parallel to the neck, how it's going to be sitting when you're done. And the first string we're going to put on is the low E string. It's going right here. So I take my string and I kind of pre-measure up to the next tuner. And I take my long thumbnail there that I use for this kind of stuff, and I kink that string over and get a nice solid little right angle kink on that. So it actually looks like it's going to be a little long. You run it through the hole. Some people will set those holes so that they're all perpendicular to the length of the neck. That really isn't all that important. What is important is that you seat it properly as you're doing it. You put it up so that that kink is right up against the tuner. That way when you start tuning the string, it won't want to slip on you. The first winding is going over the top, and then I take this part of the string that I'm going to be cutting off. I call that the dead end of the string because we're going to just cut that off. It doesn't actually get used. And as I'm winding that up, that winding is going to go underneath the second time. So see, the first turning went over the top of the dead end, the second turning went underneath it, and then every subsequent one is going to go down. Those windings are not laying on top of each other. You know, it's not all kind of bundled up like this. That's going to help keep the guitar from going out of tune, having it nice and clean like that. The reason we do the over and under like that on the dead string end, as you tighten that up, those windings have that dead end inside the middle of it, like this. You know, the windings are like this. So as you tighten the thing up, those windings actually kind of pinch that string and can help to hold it, keep it from slipping. If your string slips when you're trying to tune it, you'll go boom, and it'll kind of hop. And you want a nice gradual tuning. That's the way you can fine-tune the instrument easier. All of the strings that we're going to do on this side, we do exactly like we did that first one. Since I'm going to this tuner, I'm going to go up to this one here, put my 90-degree angle in, run it through the hole in the tuning machine, and then you'll notice that my left hand, I'm hanging onto the live end of the string and just keeping some tension on it so that that doesn't slip. And then over, oops, and then under. Pull that up. Second winding goes underneath it, and then subsequently it just keeps following down towards the headstock. Now theoretically what you're looking to do is have between 2 and 4 windings around the tuning machine. That keeps the string the most stable and helps it to tune the best. That's the reason I'm going and measuring from the tuning machine up to that one and doing the kink. That's kind of a predetermined length that makes sure I get 3 windings around. Now, this one here, I don't have another tuner, so I kind of have to guesstimate. I'm not quite to the edge of the headstock and do a kink. And if it's a little long or a little short, it's okay. You want between 2 and 4, and if you get 2, that's okay, and if you get 4.5, that's okay. You don't want 1 winding, and you don't want 10. That gets crazy. Oops, I did that one's a kink. This one I'm doing a little different. I'll show you what I do on the next ones. So. And again, that left hand, all I'm doing is keeping tension on that as I'm tensioning it up. And I'm not obviously getting it in tune at this point. My biggest concern is that there's just tension on the string so that it'll produce a tone. Okay, now, I'm going to show you what I did on that string here. We're going to this tuner. We put our little kink in, just like we did on this side. We run it through the tuner. What you're going to notice me doing is instead of just winding the tuner from this point, these strings are skinnier so they're more flexible. So we kind of put an extra added don't slip bit of work into it. I'm taking the dead end of the string and I'm kind of going through the tuner and then I'm going back around so that it's laying on the same side of the tuner as the live end. And then I go underneath the live end like that. Okay, so I've kind of gone through, come back around like the wrong direction almost. Now I'm going to hold the live end of the string and then I just go kink. And what that does is it puts a little kink in the string that'll keep the string from slipping. Kind of like a knot without actually making a knot. And then I tune up. This would be a good time to mention these little cranks are worth their weight in gold. If you are a guitarist or you're somebody who's going to be working on guitars and you have tuned one guitar without or restrung one guitar without one of these little cranks, then you have already wasted more time than you should have. They're like $2.50 a piece and they're worth every penny of it. Trim it off. I'll do this one again explaining how I did that little kink. I go up to the next tuner, run it through the machine. Now see, this one's not quite perpendicular. I'm going back around underneath the tuning post. So I'm going underneath the live end of the string. Hold everything kind of snug, kink it over. The other thing when you're doing this that you kind of want to watch, this part of the string that's going to be played, if this gets bent at all, you'll have problems with intonation. So while I'm keeping tension on this with my other hand that's not doing the winding, I'm not kinking or twisting it at all. I'm just kind of keeping a nice gradual sort of a swooping line to the string, and that'll keep it from being bent. When that string gets bent, it will never intonate properly. You'll find that you might tune the string up and then you start playing chords and they won't play in tune. So you want to avoid kinking the strings in their speaking length anyway. Okay, and I'm getting close to tension, so I got to get it where it's going to be. And then one last one. Now this one I'm going to do without telling you what I'm doing. Show you how I usually do it. They make these little cranks that you can put on the end of a power screwdriver too. That works pretty good, especially if you're right-handed and you're trying to do a left-handed side of the tuner. You don't have to worry about trying to work it with your left hand, but I've done enough of them that I've gotten pretty good at using my left hand. Okay, so now the strings are all on there. They're all trimmed, looking pretty. You clean up the guitar. A couple of things that a guy like me is going to do to do a final set. Get something on there on the guitar string is, you've done the windings, you've got it down here, but sometimes it'll want to kind of have a little bit of give to it. You want to make sure you take the slack out of the tension of the string and pull on it. Now, I'm not pulling very hard, just kind of picking up till you feel it sort of resist you. And sometimes as you're doing this, you'll actually feel that string start. Now see, that one just did it. It'll slip just a little. It's either up here at the tuner or down here at the bridge. You know, I didn't quite get that ball right, tight up against the top. That one string was the only one. The rest of them all feel pretty good, so I got them good. Then I take my thumb and I push down on every string. And that'll set it so that the string will vibrate from that point, and that it's not going over the top of the bridge and sort of forming a curve. You want that point there to be where the string vibrates from, and that'll give it, again, that'll give you best intonation. And I do the same thing up here at the nut. Okay, now we're going to tune it. And use one of our fancy dancy tuners while we do it. Let's use this one here. This is an older model of one that we carry here in the store. This one's purple, but the new ones are not. Okay, so as you can see from the tuner, I haven't got this up to E yet. This is a D. I'm going to bring it up to pitch. It'll say D sharp first, and then it'll end up being E. And what I want to do is get that little green light to come on. Now the little red light is on, and that means I'm slightly sharp, which is okay because I'm just starting to tune this. So we may overshoot the first few strings a little bit. Come back and check them. C, E, F, and there's G. Okay, tune it up. I'm going to do that little snugging business one more time now that the strings are all at pitch, or close to it. And then we do a fine tune on them. Most guitarists don't play the guitar laying on its back the way this one is right now. So I'll double check my tuning by holding it in playing position. That way the weight of the instrument's not going to affect the tuning. If this were a bass, quite often the weight of the neck of the instrument would actually pull it out of tune. This looks pretty good, really. Sounds pretty good. That's how you restring an acoustic guitar. Thank you.